Oh man, you guys remember what Irene's favorite type of airport is, right? Yep, military bases. Now, it's rare to visit any military base for civilians, so having this next one in our backyard is one of the biggest perks for pilots living in SoCal, and one that we are always getting to visit, especially since it also has our favorite FBO chain.
Good morning, approach Aero 1939er Hotel, level 5000.
November 1939er Hotel, March approach, March altimeter 2986, information Charlie current at March, the request.
29er86, we're getting the weather right now and requesting the RNAV GPS runway 32 full stop, 39er Hotel.
Number 39er Hotel, roger, copy your request and expect a vector in a few miles.
Roger, we'll expect vectors for the final 39er Hotel.
Today is another IFR departure out of Corona since we did have AM clouds, and from the ground I couldn't tell how hazy it was, so better to be safe than sorry. And an IFR departure into March is always scenic. The route takes us from the Corona obstacle departure to Paradise VOR, a specific radio to depart Paradise from, and eventually vectors to final.
39 Hotel, descend maintain 4000.
Descend maintain 4000, 39er Hotel.
When you bring up visiting any military base, you hear the same thing almost every time. Nope, you cannot go there. I mean, we also heard that about LAX. And obviously, it was no different for this base. And we don't fault anybody for saying that because the likelihood of being able to get into any base is really slim. We just happen to be lucky here. And of course, we didn't always know this was the case, but to our surprise, not only was there a way to land here, it was so easy, and we can't recommend coming here enough. As you'll see today, it might be a quote reserve base, and I do say that with air quotes because it is one busy base, and you never know what you'll see here. Today we had about 4 different type of aircraft doing some pattern work briefly, and you better believe I had my handheld constantly listening to any incoming traffic. But besides listening for military aircraft, there's definitely quite a bit to do here. And we'll cover how to take the crew car to one of our favorite air museum and why it's one of the best plane spotting places in the area. Of course, we'll be making our coffee stop, and we'll finish the day by visiting one of the most beautiful and humbling reminders that freedom isn't free. All as we visit March Air Reserve Base in Riverside County, California.
Number 39er Hotel, turn left heading 065.
Left heading 065, 39er Hotel.
On September 24th, 2023, I passed my IFR check ride, and 5 days later on September 29th, it was our first official IFR departure into IMC. We had it on our list for a while, and it would officially be our 50th airport. Some of you might be asking if there's anything special you need to do to come here, and really, no. But there are some things you should be aware of. There are no touch and goes allowed or full stop taxi backs, which means if you put those wheels on the ground, you have to go park at the FBO. But you can practice your IFR approaches and execute a missed approach. And every time we've requested that, both March Approach and Tower have been extremely accommodating. And there's usually not that many planes here, so if you want to shoot some approaches, March is a great place. Next, if you're coming in here VFR, make sure to contact March Approach before you get into their Charlie. Now there is one caveat about that. On holidays, they might not answer because they might not be working on those days. So make sure you think about the day you're gonna go. If it happens to be a holiday, you reach out to them, you don't get a response, just contact either SoCal or even contact March Tower, and that should work out for you. Ask me how I know. Yeah, it happened to us. We couldn't reach March Approach. We ended up just contacting March Tower and they coordinated our arrival. And lastly, I highly recommend calling the FBO ahead of time. Even if it's right before your departure, it'll confirm that they have room for you and that there isn't any type of restriction getting into March. This obviously doesn't replace checking NOTAMs and TFRs on your own. I just use it as a final verification that I didn't miss something. Don't let ATC do your homework for you that you should have done on the ground. Like when in the middle of an air show, a Cessna flies right into the TFR that momentarily stopped the show. Yep, it happened this last air show, and you don't want to be that person, and you don't want to receive a number.
Number 39 Hotel, your 4 miles from Loxley, turn left heading 345, maintain 4,000 established, clear for the GPS, runway 32 approach.
All right, turn left 345, maintain 4,000 until established and cleared for the RNAV GPS runway 32, 39 Hotel.
All right, so let's discuss a little bit of the history. And I do say a little because there is so much to it. So I'll try to just give you some of the highlights. So the most obvious first question is, why is it called March? Well, in February of 1918, the airport was established as Alessandro Flying Training Field. But Second Lieutenant Peyton C. March Jr., and son of the Army Chiefs of Staff, died in a flying accident in Texas. And a month later, on March 20th, 1918, the name became March Field. Now, most of the airports we discuss in SoCal were created for World War II, but this one obviously goes back much further to World War I, and it was one of 32 air service training camps to be established after the entry into World War I in April of 1917. A couple of years after the war ended, though, it was nearly completely shut down, as on April 2023, March Field officially closed its doors and just one sergeant was left in charge, and it remained that way until a very fitting month in 1927, the month of March. It was then reopened after Congress created the Army Air Corps and approved a plan for pilot training expansion. Fast forward to World War II, and during that time the base doubled in size and supported about 75,000 troops.
Number 39 Hotel, contact March Tower 127.65.
Over to March Tower, thanks for the help, 39 Hotel.
Good.
Good morning, March Tower. Arrow 1939 Hotel established on the RNAV GPS for runway 32.
Arrow 1939 Hotel, March Tower, runway 32, wind calm, clearly.
Runway 32, clear to land, 39 Hotel.
So after the war from 1949 to 1953, the flight line was mainly B-29 Super Fortresses, which we'll actually see today at the museum. They were used for the Korean War, but soon after were switched to the jet-driven B-47s, which if you look at a B-47, it definitely looks like a predecessor to the B-52s because they had those two pod engines. It was really the KC-97s, though, as part of the 17th and 22nd Air Refueling Squadrons, that really aided in breaking altitude and distant records. Eventually, in the 60s, they would upgrade to the KC-135 Stratotankers that we see all the time now, which are the truly amazing fuel pumps in the sky. And I know, the favorites are the jets from F-22, which is my personal favorite jet, to the B-2 Spirit, but we have to say that the mission that these air refuelers do, like the KC-135, are truly spectacular. I mean, there's not a mission that does not have these air refuelers as part of the operation. Today, March's flight line is mostly KC-135s and C-17s, but it has a slew of jets and other aircraft that come in all the time. One of the coolest things to see is a C-17 doing pattern work, which we can see all the way from Corona. March Air Reserve Base has a 24/7 tower and is one of 4 SoCal Charlie airports. No, I didn't count Santa Barbara in that Charlie sense. It is outside the SoCal TRANSIENT airspace. The base has officially 2 runways, 1, 2, 3, 0 at a little over 3,000 feet, which you'll never use because I've never seen it used. And the one you'll use today, 1432 at a massive, and I do mean a massive, 13,300 feet. And it has a width of 200 feet. So yeah, it looks like the runway goes on forever, as you can kind of see already. And there is one runway that goes on even longer than this, but that's for a future airport, don't want to spoil that. They use the runway for all types of training, including carrier landings, and we'll point out the resting capable location during our landing. We have a story about that. Even though it's a long runway, you have about 3,000 feet to the Bravo taxiway, which is really where they'll likely have you turn off. But sometimes, like you'll see today, they'll have other plans and you'll hear an audible disappointment from Irene. Now, the main weather factors to worry about are the winds and early morning marine layer. Like I said, the first time here, even during our recent visit for the air show, it gets pretty cloudy in the mornings, but burns off by late morning, early afternoon. Oh, and because I'm so used to it, I almost forgot to mention the heat. During the summer, it gets pretty toasty out here because it is inland, and temperatures can reach up to 115 degrees in the summer. Luckily, it's a long enough runway for even those high density altitude days, but I mean, I don't know how much fun it is to fly in 115 degrees. That's just me though. And no, I'm not counting you fancy air-conditioned pilots.
Two 193 Hotel, you can make a 180 on the runway, back taxiing on 32 to Alpha, taxi to the Millionaire via Alpha Hotel.
All right, do a 180 and then taxi via Alpha Hotel to the FBO 39 Hotel.
Oh, man.
Yep, that's Irene being a little disappointed that she couldn't taxi right next to the tankers. So let's talk instrument approaches, which obviously we just did. They have an ILS 32 and an RNAV for both runways 14 and 32. Now, they do have a bunch of other approaches, but these are the ones that are typically used by us small GA pilots. Today was easy, as on calm wind days, runway 32 is the one used, and even though it was pretty clear, I love shooting an approach. But you also got to hear what to expect as far as radio chatter. So something I learned the first time we came here, and this is a tip for you instrument rated pilots. In the remarks section of your IFR flight plan, if you're a new IFR pilot, let them know in that area. I literally wrote on that remarks section, new IFR pilot. Now, what does this do? Well, it lets approach know that you might need a little extra help. And when I did it, March approach let me know exactly what fixes he was going to fit me in between. You can even use that remarks section on any flight for things like wanting to remain over flat land and not over mountains or not over water, pretty much anything. Today, we mostly use it to tell ATC to have a good morning and that we appreciate what they do. We get a kick out of their responses sometimes. I think one of the funniest ones is when we told ATC in the remarks section, we love ATC, and one of the controllers literally said, we love you too. We actually put that recording on our Instagram. And we do it because in aviation, we all work as a team, everything from the pilots to TRACON to linemen to FBOs to everyone. And this is just one of our small ways to try to make someone's day a little bit better, because we know ATC has a stressful job. So they used to have additional traffic here, and we saw it the first time we came, Prime Air, but they stopped all operations at March just last month, May of 2025. All right, so one of our favorite parts of this field is the FBO. And you probably already know how we feel about Millionaire, but if you don't, you can check out Burbank or Yuma. In short, we love Millionaire, as there hasn't been one time that we haven't had a great experience. And this being the third time at this field wouldn't be any different. This is one of our favorite locations for a specific reason, the food, which we'll cover more after we land. We ended up calling the FBO right before departing like I had suggested for you, and they were completely professional and helpful. We'll give you a quick tour around the FBO and show you where you can take a nap if you need one after a long flight, but most importantly, if you're coming in for the day, we'll show you the crew car, which was definitely fancy. Now, after a quick flight, it's time to show you guys around. We are back at March. This is our third time here, and unfortunately, it's very quiet today. It was so quiet, we were able to do a 180 on the runway to come and taxi on the approach end. But we're getting ready to go inside, but we're excited to be back. Melon, and there's nobody here. I'm hungry.
Me too. I'm starving.
So we're gonna go eat right now. We'll show you guys what's that all about.
Well, we have it all to ourselves today. Although I do wish there were some jets flying in.
I know. So again, we're back to one of our favorite FBOs, Millionaire, and this one is awesome. One of the things that we couldn't film was on the right as we came in, there's a wall that has charts on it. On the other side of that wall is a conference room. Unfortunately, there was someone in there, so we didn't want to film, but just note that they do have that room available. One thing that's not so obvious is if you walk down this hallway right here, it takes you to the theater/sleeping room. Now this is a great place to do some flight planning, or even bring your passengers so they can relax while you're doing that. But just make sure you're mindful of anyone else in here. Sometimes there are commercial pilots that use this area to catch up on some rest. And I'll tell you right now, those chairs are extremely comfortable. You'll snooze off in no time.
So inside of this millionaire FBO, there is a cafe called the Jetaway Cafe. And they're only open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to maybe it's 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. Sometimes 12:30, I think is what the front desk said.
It's understandable because like today, it's dead.
Yeah. And so when you come in, usually the pilot, and I think it's one passenger, which you had alluded to before,
Right.
get handed one of these each. And basically, it'll buy you a meal for $1.
Oh, don't be like me and thinking it's free. Last time I came in here, I gave him the thing and I was like, why am I paying it? Oh, that's right. It's $1.
Yeah, I think our total was like $2.30.
The guy looked at me facing.
So we just got here. We got handed our pilot's bucks. We're going to go back in, get some food. Then I think grab the crew car.
We already got the crew car set.
Perfect.
We paid for everything already. That we're pretty much set. So when we come back, we can just take off. So they took care of us really, really fast. Fuel's already done.
Yeah.
Again, it's just how Millionaire functions. They take care of everything. And we just read reviews even this morning or like that. People were like, this place is awesome.
Yeah.
So
I think it's just like Burbank. We had a great time. So I'm not surprised.
not surprised. So we're going to go eat now because we are starving. The cafe has a really, really great menu. Pretty much anything you want to eat, obviously within the confines of a cafe, but it's delicious. I'm going to reiterate this once we go back outside, but man, I pretty much still dream of that burger today. And you even get a spectacular view of the runway. One more thing that we wanted to let you know, if you like eating outside instead, you can actually go out the side door and they do have patio seating area. They have plenty of water and a coffee station, and the water was half water, half ice, which is perfect for a warm day like today. All right, food was delicious, like really, really good. I even had to tell, he wasn't the cook, but he was like the cashier. It could have been a cook. I don't know, actually.
I think there was a cook back there.
There was a cook back
Yeah.
there. Either way, the burgers, oh my God, it was so good. And then your burger was delicious. You had
chicken BLT, which I was super skeptical about. I'm like, I don't know how this is going to go, but it was really good. I think the chicken was like super juicy and the
it was
bacon
only
was crispy. Yeah.
It was only $1 each.
That.
So right now we're leaving here. We're gonna go, I think, the museum.
Yes.
Oh yes. Okay, so we're gonna go to the museum.
So excited.
All right. So Irene had said before that Millionaire are known for their Mercedes. Yes, they are. All right. How do you drive this car? What is happening? Wait.
Put it in reverse. It is in reverse, right?
Yeah,
No.
but it's like a knob. It's not. All right, so press down. Down. Oh, okay. Drive.
It's kind of, actually, what's funny is that whole knob thing
Okay.
is very much like the older trucks, like
Oh,
older
yeah,
cars. But everything was shifting on the side. Now we've gone back to that, but it's like digital. Like,
Right.
it's so weird.
Yeah, we're clear.
Clear. Yeah, we're like reverting back.
Final clear. So we made it to our first destination, the March Air Museum. We're trying to get to a good plane spotting area. There's a KC-135 coming in to land, and it just came from China Lake. So we're gonna rush in there right now, go do that, and then probably walk around after that. Oh, we caught it. They have these bleachers here. Best place to plane watch. A quick note about these bleachers. When they do have the March Air Show here, you can actually pay, I think it's $45 to come in and watch the air show from right here. And as you guys saw, it's right looking at the runway. What's nice about it is, if you're lucky enough, you can get under this wing so you can get out of the sun. If it's too hot outside, it's not too bad today. It's probably 85 degrees. But back there, they have tours where you can stay inside air conditioning, I guess, little van, and they'll drive you around the outside exhibits. That's a good way to kind of view all the exhibits, and I'm pretty sure you'll get stories a little bit more tailored to what each aircraft's history is. Something new that was added to the museum are the barcodes next to each of the aircraft. It tells you all about the history, the specs. We just thought it was a really nice touch and a great addition to our experience. So great job, March Air Museum. They're your MiGs.
I know, I looked over, I was like, oh my goodness, those are all MiGs.
I think maybe not everybody knows is that if you keep walking south, there is a radio room. It was actually really fascinating for us when we went there the first time. We didn't even know, we just kept walking and found it. So when you come, make sure you come out this way. Let me show you what it looks like. So we're gonna go right, I think, there.
In between the two big hangars.
Right here. During our visit, we got to talk to two gentlemen who are the docents here. And they're not just docents, they're very, very knowledgeable about radios because they themselves are licensed ham radio operators. As the docent showed us all the radios, what really surprised us is that most of them, honestly, it felt like 99% of those radios work, which is really surprising based on how old some of these radios are. You come here, go to the radio room. It's really, really cool.
Well, and I think too, what was really cool was the difference between the older radios. So I think it goes World War I all the way to World War II.
Yeah.
And then at the front are the radios that Bob and David use now to communicate. And it's like all digital. Like they have like digital screen. I mean, it's not all, the screens are all digital. Yeah. And their setup is just so vastly different from what the older radios look like.
So I think you're right, that's the thing I never think about, is they'll start you with the oldest radios, they'll come around, but they actually don't talk about theirs. Ask them about theirs, because it looks really cool.
Their setup is really interesting.
It's really nice.
Yeah, and it's just like the contrast between like the old and the new.
Yeah. But now we're gonna go inside, look at SR-71s, look at this one exhibit we won't ruin it, we'll go inside, we'll show you guys right now. We got a Reaper. Sorry, we got sidetracked with that drone, but let's go check out one of the original, most important reconnaissance aircraft ever made. Now, years ago, they did have an SR-71 outside, and it was in pretty bad shape. This could have been the same one. I really don't know, but whatever they did here, it's perfect. Whoever restored this plane, they made it look spectacular. And even with the little blue lights underneath, it makes it look like it's still one of the newest alien ships that we've ever created. And that's hugely thanks to Kelly Johnson. So something we learned from the docent is that the SR-71 uses a specific fuel that you can't just light with a fire or a lighter or anything like that. So they used this start cart to start the SR-71. But one day the start cart caught on fire and there was no water around, but what they did have plenty of was SR-71 fuel. And yep, that's what they used to extinguish the fire.
Next exhibit is one of the most realistic feeling exhibits about the air raid shelters in London. When we first came here, it wasn't really, this is one of those things that you don't really expect, but they make it feel like you were there at Piccadilly Station, and it's pretty crazy. You guys definitely need to come, so let's go inside.
Now I have to mention, when we first came, the exhibit was fairly new and the sounds were much louder and it sounded a lot more real back then. I have this suspicion they might have turned down the sounds. Honestly, I can't blame them. It was a really visceral experience coming in here. I kind of do miss it though, only because it really made you feel like you were there. But it's still a really great exhibit to visit.
What this feels like is if you were outside, and that's the sound of the bombs going off. But if you were in a 90-degree day outside, clear skies, and you put your hand on the ground, that's what this would feel like. Probably one of the smallest exhibits we've ever been in. But every time I go in there, I just think about the people who live there, and I can't imagine what that was like.
Now, this is not a complete walkthrough of the museum. There's so much more to see, but we didn't want to spoil the rest for you. So you'll just have to come.
Just got done at the museum, and we've been here multiple times. Once a year probably for the last 3 years.
And then before that, I think we had been.
And we have been before,
Yeah.
but it's so cool every time. And we even got news stories this time
About the SR-71.
about the SR-71, which is really cool.
Which is one of my favorite planes, so.
So ask about that. And apparently they have a SR-71 day every 2 years here. We don't know when it's going to be because it's going to be next year. So they just said keep an eye on the March Air Museum website.
Yeah.
I constantly think we're going to come and be like, well, we saw everything, but there's always something new.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, the stories and then seeing whatever flies in.
Well, and then they completely changed and reorganized the outside exhibits. So they have way more planes lined up. They've done a really good job with the QR scanning. You can get a lot of information right then and there. So they've done really, really good here. So we're out of here now. We're going to go get
Coffee! So we just came from the coffee place, which was called the Cupcake and Espresso Bar. Sorry, I had to look at it on my phone because I could not remember what it's called.
That's kind of a mouthful of a name. Wait, did you get cupcake?
I got a cupcake.
Oh. I just got Rice Krispie treats, but it is a cookies and cream Rice Krispies treat.
We didn't want to film inside and do all that. It was
And look weird because it was very quiet in there.
It was really quiet. That would have been really awkward.
Yeah.
Okay, so I got an iced dulce de leche latte with oat milk, and Roger got.
And if you don't know, I love cookies and cream. Obviously, I just got a cookies and cream Rice Krispies treat, and now I got a cookies and cream coffee.
Yeah, it's a cookies and cream blended coffee.
All right. Cheers.
Cheers.
Very good. I can't even tell there's espresso in here. I hope there is.
It should just be like a cookies and cream milkshake.
I'm okay with that. It's too good.
But yeah, so far, it's looking like this place is a winner. So if you're close by.
Our next stop is a sobering reminder of all the sacrifices that have been made for me, for Irene, to live the lives that we live today. We visit Riverside National Cemetery, which is the largest and busiest cemetery managed by the National Cemetery Administration. It was established in 1976 and it has over 300,000 graves as of 2022. The Riverside National Cemetery is beautifully maintained and for good reason. And just a reminder, if you do come here, this is not a tourist spot. This is the final resting place for many of our heroes. So when you come, just be aware that there are many family members who come to visit their loved ones. But now it's time to head back to the FBO.
It's crazy as you can see the C-17 sitting on the ramp from here.
Mm-hmm.
And then all the planes at March. And all the traffic.
All right, we are out of here for the day, but it was a really good day.
Yeah, it was.
And hopefully this gives you guys a good idea of what you can do here. There's actually a lot to do here. And again, one of the things that people forget is that you can visit this airport. And it's a lot of fun to visit it. What were your highlights?
Ooh. The museum and
yes, what?
meeting the Omega guys.
Yes. We got to meet the Omega tanker pilots, and it was really cool the way he was, because he approached this because he saw that Hannah was the only plane out here and he wanted to ask us about it. I think even cooler was what he showed us.
Oh, yeah.
So what he showed us was how they refuel in the air, or just like they had some snapshots of the air-to-air refueling. What was it, F-35s?
F-35s, Harrier.
Yeah, F-18s.
F-18s.
And there was one more.
I think that was it.
That was it?
Yeah. He showed us a couple videos of the F-35s.
Yeah. So it was really cool.
Yeah.
Again, things that you never know when you go to some of these places and the people you're gonna meet. And you could tell he was still he was like a kid talking about flying, which is so cool to hear. And I don't know.
I think what was really interesting was that he kept talking about, well, we asked him about his history with flying, and he told us all the different planes he had flown, which were incredible in and of themselves.
Yeah.
And then he said something that just made me realize how much he actually just loved aviation and flying for the sake of flying. He said, there's nothing like, at the end of the day, hopping into a small plane like that and flying. And I'm like, oh, this guy gets it.
Yeah. Every time we come, there's always something that happens.
Yep.
And then today we got drone, we got KC-135, we saw a C-17 depart last minute.
C-130
coming in. The Omega tanker that the two gentlemen piloted, we actually saw come in and taxi. So again, it's just really, they were just here from Jacksonville, right? They're like celebrities to us. Like celebrities in real life, those aren't celebrities. These are celebrities to us.
To keep those planes in the air and keep those guys safe. And
sorry, Eileen's looking because she's like on the prowl to hear another plane coming in.
I have my ear tuned for like military aircraft, so I heard something.
Yeah. definitely come. I don't know what else.
There's no landing fee.
No landing fee.
The fees for March.
No, there isn't.
No.
Is that just okay?
And then the fees for the FBO, we'll put them down in the description below. But spoiler alert, like it was super reasonable.
It was reasonable.
I think the fuel was maybe only 60 cents more than what we pay at our home field.
Yeah.
And
you just got to get 15 gallons so you can waive the fee.
the ramp fee, right?
The ramp fee,
But you
yeah.
still have a parking fee and a different
And facilities fee?
maybe,
Something
which are like $11 combined.
Again, we'll put all that in the description. If you love military planes and you just want to come, nothing's guaranteed, but for the last 3 times we've been here, we're 3 for 3.
Oh yeah.
So, and we came on a Friday. Sometimes it's a little less busy on Fridays, but not today.
Yeah.
You good?
Yeah.
All right, we'll see you guys on the next one then.
Now, after a spectacular day, it was time for us to get out of here. And don't forget, this is a Charlie, so you do need to get your clearance. Now, there is no dedicated clearance delivery frequency, so you just do it on ground. A question that will be asked by ground is if you want flight following. Today, we opted not to get it because we were not going directly back to Corona.
Good afternoon, March. Ground, Aero 1939 Hotel at Millionaire, ready to taxi with Juliet.
Aero 1939 Hotel, March ground, Roger. Are you looking for flight following?
That's negative, 39 Hotel.
39 Hotel, Roger. On departure, your squawk's going to be 0136. Runway 32, taxi Hotel Alpha.
All right, 0136 and taxi Hotel Alpha, 39 Hotel.
If you live in SoCal, you have to visit March, and you can seriously make an amazing day out of it. And hopefully we showed you a pretty decent itinerary of everything you can do. We can spend hours and hours at the Air Museum reading all the stories and digging into every detail. And if you have your handheld radio, you can keep an ear out for any military planes coming into land. And wow, did we run the gamut of aircraft. I mean, the drone, we couldn't believe how quiet that thing is. And yeah, if you live anywhere in SoCal, it's at most probably a 45-minute to an hour flight away.
Aero 39 Hotel, contact tower and ready for departure.
Well, contact tower when ready for departure, 39 Hotel.
And as always, we want to show our appreciation, and we want to start off by thanking Chris and John for this week's super thanks. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much. Next, we want to thank our YouTube members, Thomas, Gary, Pilot Chip, and Ron. You guys are definitely helping in keeping those wing tanks full. And of course, we want to really thank our Patreon members. This list is getting longer. So here we go. I want to thank Chris, Tony, Steve, Rich, Phil, Randy, Paul, Tyler, Michael, Chase, and Bob. You guys are truly spectacular. You guys have no idea how much it means to us for you guys to support us. It really helps tremendously with flying to all these different places. So from the bottom of our hearts, thank you so much. Now, last week, Irene was hoping for one thing, that one of you would have stories or pictures of Daggett in its heyday. And wow, did we get spoiled with both. Seeing all the hangars in those photos really filled in our gaps of what it looked like back then. So thank you so much to Clyde. We also found that a number of you used Daggett Airport to fulfill your cross-country requirement, which, like I did with 29 Palms, it definitely made for some great adventures in the desert. And finally, we received some touching comments about how many of you enjoy the videos as well as the longer format. We can't thank you enough for sharing your feedback with us. It means everything. It's been a lot of work, but you guys make it worth it, so thank you so much, truly. March Air Reserve Base is such an exciting field to visit, especially if you love military aircraft and that sound of the afterburners pounding on your chest as F-35s depart. So make sure you visit very soon. Now enjoy the longest runway departure yet, and we'll be keeping it pretty low until the departure end. And this will also be the first time you catch us flying all the way back home to Corona. Yeah, that's how close March is. Thank you all so much. We'll see you next week. Until then, go fly, go discover.
All right, good afternoon, March. Tower Aero 1939 Hotel, holding short, runway 32 at Alpha for straight out departure.
Aero 1939 Hotel, good afternoon, Marsh Tower, runway 32, wind 310 at 10, clear for takeoff.
32, clear for takeoff, 39 Hotel.
Aero 39 Hotel, be exiting class Charlie momentarily. You can squawk VFR, frequency change approved. Good day.
Squawk VFR, frequency change approved. Thanks for the help. 39 Hotel.
Chile, Falcon 694 Papa Delta, sending out a 16-3 via the Disney with uniform.
Number 694 Papa Delta, SoCal until altimeter 29er 83.
83 in the meter, Papa Delta.
Southwest 1138 SoCal.
I'll be right back,
Welcome,
okay?
the Ontario altimeter is 2983. You can expect the ILS 26 right. Mike is current. Southwest 1962, descend via the Disney 6 arrival.
Descend by the Disney 6 arrival, Southwest 1962.
7 approach, Persona Flight 311, 10,000 with information, Mike. Persona Flight 311, SoCal approach, present heading, expect the ILS, runway 26 left. Present heading, expect ILS 26 left, Persona Flight 311. Number 6 Delta Mike, Sirius, have a good day, contact LA Center 128.15.
Uh.
6288 SoCal approach, pursue direct Weimer, maintain 7,000 right stone sight. Southwest 1138, descend via except maintain 13,000. Number 7 Alpha X-ray, change my frequency 126.7. 7 Alpha X-ray on altimeter, or Palm Springs altimeter 2966. .94, SoCal departure, ready to contact, climb via except maintain 15,000. Persona Sky 311, descend and maintain 6,000. Maintain 6,000, Persona Sky 311.
Huh?
2255, contact tower 119.7. Have a wonderful day.
Good evening, SoCal Server Speed 61, level 16,000.
Server Speed 61 SoCal and on trail number 2983, advise when you have the weather and approach request.
We have November at Palm Springs and looking for the visual for 31 left.
Got 6288 cross Weimer at or above 7,000, cleared RNAV.
Navigate to 46 seconds of the west for the lake, 3,500, going down to 2,500, we're going north to westbound back to the 9115. Matthews.
Lake Matthews traffic, Euro 1939 Hotel 4,500 along the 91, 4 miles north, westbound. Lake Matthews.
Lake Matthews traffic, Cessna 1539 Echo over the center of the lake, going north towards Riverside. Leaving, this will be the last call, Lake Matthews. At 2500, Lake Matthews, 39 Echo, sorry.
Lake Matthews traffic, Air 19039 Hotel, 3 miles southeast of the 9115, heading for the foothills for Corona, 39 Lake Matthews. Corona traffic, Air 19039 Manor Hotel, 5 miles south along the foothills. Left traffic, 25 full stop, Corona. Corona traffic, Air 39 Hotel, turning over the shopping center for the 45 for 25. Full stop, Corona. Current traffic, Aero 39 Hotel, entering left downwind, 25, Corona. Runway traffic, Aero 39 Hotel, turning left base, 25, Corona. Runway traffic, Aero 39 Hotel, turning final for 25, Corona.
Oh, you almost said it.
I know.
Straight to jail.
Straight to jail. Traffic, Yellow Grumman 895, lining up, runway 25, Corona. Traffic, Aero 39 Hotel, clear of 25, Corona.